We're going to start out, first of all, by reviewing a couple of things that we've learned that are going to help us in this lesson. And first of all, in order to solve a multi-step equation that involves a variable, a letter, we have to work orders of operation in reverse or in inverse order. So here, normally, if you were working without a letter, you would do any parentheses first, then any exponents, then any multiplying or dividing from left to right, and then any adding and subtracting. Well, now that we're going to be working multi-step equations, we have to know which step do we have to do first. So what we're going to have to do is we will always start if there's any adding or subtracting, because we now also not only have to do the opposite operation, but we have to work orders of operation backwards. So we will start with any adding or subtracting first, if possible, which the ones that we're going to work with right now will be possible. And then from there, obviously, we're going to do the inverse operation from that. Then we'll get it down to a one-step equation. So before we start in on this lesson, I do want to review with you from things that we learned in lessons 4 and 5. And that is the one-step equations that involve adding and subtracting, multiplying and dividing. So right now I have m plus 7 equals -8. So to get m by itself and to isolate m, we have to get rid of this 7. So to get rid of that plus 7, we're going to subtract 7. Now we're working on balanced equations. So whatever we do to one side of our equal sign, we have to do the other. So I'm going to go to the other side of this line and I'm going to say -7. All right, so now I have m equals same symbol sum when I look at these, and that gives me 15. Apply the same symbol. So I just found out that m equals -15. Okay, and now that we're working for variables, I still want you practicing those integers, but if that's what's slowing you down and is what is frustrating you, then pull your calculator out and check yourself. Okay, I'm okay with that. I want you learning the steps right now and not worrying about, I'm not very good at the integers. And then that's where you're making your mistakes. Okay, we'll keep plugging away on integers in class. Okay, so my next one, I have 8 times m equals -56. So right now it's times m, so we're going to go ahead and divide by 8 to get rid of that 8. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do the other. So 56 divided by 8 would give me 7. And there was one negative, so it's a -7. So I just found out that m equals -7. The last one, we have m divided by 8 equals 7. So right now it's divided by 8. We're going to go times 8, which is the reciprocal. Cancels it out, times 8. So now I get m equals 7 times 8 is 56. Both were positive, so it's still positive. Okay, so that's working the one-step equations. Now we're going to go ahead and work on some two-step equations. So now that there's another step involved, we have to know, do we get rid of the multiplying and dividing first or the adding and subtracting? Because we're going to be still working the opposites. Well, we have to work orders of operation backwards, which means we're going to go ahead and start with adding and subtracting first by doing the opposite. So right now I have a plus 12 there. So the opposite is -12. That one's gone, so I'm going to write -12. Remember, whatever you do to one side, you have to do the other. So now on the left-hand side, I still have 2x equals 4 minus 12. Those are different symbols. One's positive, one's negative. I'm going to find the difference, which is 8. The larger number was negative, so it's a -8. So now I'm back to a one-step equation that we practiced in lesson 4 and 5. So right now it's 2 times x, so we're going to divide by 2 to get that 2 out of there. Divide by 2. X equals 8 divided by 2 is 4. 1 negative makes it a -4. Now, if I want to check myself, I can substitute into the original equation. 2 times -4 gives me -8, plus 12 would give me a +4, so that's a correct answer. Okay, so let's try another one of these. Okay, so we have 5y minus 25 equals 65. So we're always going to start with doing the adding and subtracting first, because normally that would be the last thing we do, and we're working opposite to get y by itself. So right now I have minus 25 plus 25. It's gone, but I have to do plus 25 on the right side. Okay, so now when I rewrite my equation, which is required, no, you cannot just give me an answer. I now have 5y left on this side, that's not crossed out, equals 65 plus 25 gives me 90. So now I have 5y equals 90. So now I want to work to get y by itself. So right now it's times 5. We're going to divide by 5. Divide by 5. Y equals 90 divided by 5. And this is where I say, if you would like to use your calculator, you may. I'm not checking your division ability. I want to know that you can solve for y. So if I take 90 divided by 5, I just think of nickels, that would be 18 nickels. So we find out that 90 divided by 5 is 18. So y equals 18. Okay, so I'm going to give you one that I want you to try independently. Okay, so I want you guys to try this one. Now remember, that negative with the 5 is times the c. It's not minus 5. It's a negative 5 times c. So go ahead and pause your video and work your way through this one. If you'd like to use your calculator, you may go ahead and do so. So pause your video now and work your way through this equation. So you should have found out that c equals 5. So if you didn't get 5, make sure that you're checking through my steps to see, oh, whoops, I accidentally added 5 instead of divided by negative 5. So you want to make sure that if you're not getting them right, you're looking through my work and identifying, why did I not get that right? Because there's multiple spots that you could make a mistake. Okay, if it was in the combination of the integers, well, that's something minor right now because you can use a calculator to do that.